Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's weekly live immigration attorney chat here at Immigration for Couples. I'm attorney Megan Pastrana, and I'm really excited to be with all of you. I see that there are some individuals who've already put questions and comments in the chat, so that's awesome. I see two of me, and I don't know if you can. Okay, there. I think my technology was just had a little bit of a glitch there. All right, so hopefully everybody can hear me and everyone can see me. It's like I said, it's great to be with all of you. My name's attorney Megan Pastrana. If this is your first time here, so my firm, my team, and I here at Immigration for Couples, we are dedicated exclusively to helping couples across the nation and across the world in navigating the US immigration process. I always like to start by asking, where are you at in the world? Where are you at in your immigration journey? And most importantly, how are you feeling? How are you doing? Because the immigration process, it can be, stressful and overwhelming. And so I always like to do that check-in. And so let's see who we have here today. All right. So good morning to you as well. You received your green card. It's been 3 weeks, but they haven't approved my employment authorization card. Okay. So we'll definitely get to questions here momentarily. Yours is the first one in the queue. Where are you at in the world? Where are you at in your immigration journey? And how are you doing? So good morning, Monique. Thank you for being here. All right. Aw, that's great. So you said you purchased the book and that's helped calm your nerves somewhat. So that's awesome. I'm very glad that that's been a helpful guide to you and that that's helped you find some peace. So thank you very much for supporting the book. Oh, Jim, you're feeling anxious. So Crawford, Newport, Virginia, waiting on your fiance visa from the Philippines. And then you put you're feeling anxious. Yeah, that's a pretty normal feeling. I will say I felt that as well when my husband and I were going through our own immigration journey. So hang in there. You're in a great community. Hopefully this will provide you with some peace of mind and uplift here today. So yeah, you're trying to keep each other's spirits up 5,000 miles apart, daunting when it could be the middle of 2027 before we hear anything. Yeah, I know the waits are very long, but and I know that the wait times are really inhumane. I mean, it's just so long to be apart from somebody you love. And I speak from experience. If you lean into those difficulties, that's great that you're both keeping each other's spirits up, finding ways to connect, even though you have that distance. Focus on the future and really lean on each other. I know it's a hard journey to go through. All right. So before we dive into questions here, a few updates and a few items that I want you to be aware of. So Immigration for Couples, we host these weekly chats because we know going through an immigration journey can be very overwhelming. It can cause anxiety. It can feel daunting, everything that everyone said here today. And we want you to have a place, a community where you can go and get, excuse me, goodness, where you can go and get updates about what is going on in the world of immigration and then find support from others who are also going through their journeys. So, we also, in addition to hosting these live chats, have a free resource center at immigrationforcouples.com. Ria, our amazing team member, she'll throw that in the comments. And also, we're doing a special this month. So this month, if you decide to have a consultation with me and with my team, we will actually give you double the credit. So the consultation, you'll pay the consultation fee of $350. You'll meet with me. We'll go through your immigration situation, your goals, and I will give you what I see are your best next steps and my advice. And if you decide to work with our team after that call, we will give you not just the 350 back, but an additional 350. So we call it double the joy here for the month of November. So if you want to do that, time is running out. Ria, I think, told me yesterday that we only have 3 spots left for appointments. My calendar is completely saturated, but we do have 3 appointment spots left. So if you're wanting to take advantage of that special, definitely do schedule an appointment as soon as possible because there are only a few slots to receive that $700 credit. And thank you. Maria said she loves my sweater. I'm very excited about it. Anything that has hearts. And when I saw this, I was like, oh, I have to have it. So yes, very in alignment with my work in the world. Everything love. So yes, thank you. I was super excited to find it. All right. I'm glad my voice came back there. I had that little bit of a tickle and cough. All right. So let's dive into our first question here in the queue. If you're just now joining us, welcome. If you're watching this on the replay, do a hashtag replay. Let me know, where are you at in the world? Where are you at in your immigration case? And what are your most burning immigration questions? All right. So you received your green card. 3 weeks. You've received it 3 weeks, but you haven't received an approval for your employment authorization, which I don't think I would need it anymore when I apply. Um, for the social security number in the form, it asks, are they still going to produce the social security number even though they are not going to prove the, and I think you mean EAD, your work permit. Once your green card is approved, the work permit is not needed. It's obsolete. It's irrelevant because the green card has in it your employment authorization. So the employment authorization is no longer valid. You don't need that. Oftentimes, after the green card is approved, if you have a pending work permit, what will happen is you'll receive a notice from immigration letting you know that that work permit has been denied or canceled. That's normal because, again, you don't need it, that you have the green card. So you'll probably receive that letter. With the social security number, part of the application immigration forms have a question about, is it okay for us to notify the social security office? That's on the green card application, the work permit. If you're going through a spouse visa process, it's on the consular application. Is it okay for immigration to notify social security? Unfortunately, immigration is not communicating with social security office anymore like it had in the past. And so once you have that green card, what we've been telling clients to do, if that social security card doesn't follow in the mail, to go to the social security office, make an appointment, you'll take your green card and request that social security number. So you will have a social security number. Once you have your social security number, it's your number for life. So if you don't already have one, then you need to go and apply for one. If you have one, you still need to go to the social security office and make sure that social security number is updated to reflect your status of green card. And congratulations on getting your green card approved. I should have started there. That's exciting, but I jumped right into the question. So I hope that gives you some clarity about that question. All right. Okay. So Damien, you did your I-485, your adjustment interview 3 weeks ago and still no decision. Should you upload new joint bank statements evidence to your online account, even though USCIS didn't ask to see it? Will it speed up the case? So I wasn't at your interview and I don't know how it went and I don't know what the immigration officer asked you to do. But if they were not specifically asking for evidence, typically you're not going to want to just upload evidence without them requesting. It's not going to speed up the case and it might cause confusion. So again, I can't tell you conclusively, I can't give you legal advice about what to do since I wasn't at your interview. But I would say if immigration did not specifically ask for something, then you're not going to need to upload it. And it's normal after an immigration interview. Sometimes it can take them weeks or months to make a final decision. It depends where they were at in their screening. It depends on the specifics of your case. I assume that you took evidence with you to the interview, and if you provided evidence at the interview, then that's great. You should just wait for immigration to make a decision and notify you if they need anything additional. Hopefully you get a decision soon. So at least the interview's done. And if you're willing to share with us, how did it go at your interview? If not, you keep that private. I just know that there's probably a lot of people that are curious. So, all right, let's see who's next in the queue. Betty, it's great to see you. You just got your interview date for the fiancé visa on December 16th, and your medical appointment is next week. It's been 13 months. Yay. Congratulations. That's so exciting. And yes, that's in track with the estimate that we give couples that it takes about 14 months right now to receive that fiancé visa in hand. So you beat that by a month for current estimates. So congratulations. Keep us posted, sending you tons of positive vibes and all that good stuff for a positive outcome in your interview. So thank you for sharing. Good morning again. I know I had pulled that up earlier. Okay. Yeah, this is a very good question. And you're wanting to know, for when you're petitioning for stepchildren, do you have to have permission from the other biological parent for that child to immigrate? Will a court order giving the immigrant parent sole custody be good enough? It depends. So this is definitely a conversation we have with the couples we represent if they are also wanting to file petitions for or bring stepchildren as part of the fiance visa process or as part of a spouse visa process. In general, yes, you have to have consent from the other biological parent. There are exceptions to this. In some cases, when we meet with couples and then we determine or we find out, hey, that this the biological parent actually relinquished their rights, or maybe they terminated their rights, or maybe they've had no contact since birth, and then there's a court order granting full custody to the other biological parent. So sometimes that's enough. In other cases, there might be shared custody, and we have to get not only a court order but also sometimes a signed confirmation from the other parent. And it's going to be very largely specific on the US embassy or consulate. Some have much different rules. So I'll say we've had clients in Brazil at the consulate in Rio. They typically like to see not just some kind of court order but also a sworn affirmed to statement from the other biological parent. And in other countries, we've had, for example, in Ecuador and Philippines, the court order was enough. And so it's going to be largely dependent on the specifics of what is that custody arrangement, what's the contact with the child, and then also what is the policy of that US embassy or consular post. So I can't say that it will be enough. A court order is a good place to start. And then you would just have to really check if you have an immigration attorney, you should be working with him or her on what does this particular embassy require and whether or not you're going to need to get additional documents. But a court order is a good place to start. And you need to make sure that the court order is very clear on what it's allowing, because sometimes I've seen court orders where the biological parent says it's okay for the child to go to the US to visit and to go to school. But if they're going to immigrate and have a green card, they're going to be living there long term. So that court order might not be enough if the language isn't accurate. So great question. All right. And if you're just now joining us, welcome. We're happy to have you. Please let me know in the comments, where are you at in the world? Where are you at in your immigration journey? And how are you doing? You're very welcome. I'm glad that that was helpful and that answered your question. All right. And then I see a couple people have joined us here. Good morning, Ginger. Great to see you. You're back in the UK then. I know you had spent some time with your fiance in the US, so hopefully you're getting closer to having that fiance visa and being able to be together long term. So it's great to have you with us. All right. Let me see. I lost where I was at in the queue. I have questions coming in from Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. So sometimes it takes me just a minute to get back on track if I skip around. Okay. Monique, we went over your question. Okay, got it. All right. So you said you're here in the UK and Texas. You're hunkering down for the long wait to get the USCIS approval. RFE on your petition. I don't know if there's another part. Okay. So I had pulled up your other question before about the 5,000 miles apart, the other part of your comment, rather. Yeah. Hunkering down. That's a good word. That's an accurate description. And I hope you're able to get a decision soon. I know that wait is hard. All right. Oh, Maria, we are hoping that for you too. So good morning to you. You're optimistic to hear soon from USCIS for the fiance visa approval. Yes, indeed. You're happy to be here with everyone. We're happy to have you. It's great to be in community. It's important to remember you're not alone on this immigration adventure, this journey. So I agree to tell, like how you're telling everyone to be optimistic. So that's great advice. All right. Yeah, and this is such a good question, too. We have a lot of questions about children-based petitions because when you're coming as a family, it can, there can be some other nuances and layers. So, adoption of children and that intersection of, I'm not sure if it's an international adoption But even if it's not, the intersection of adoption laws and immigration, it can be very complex. And we've had cases where individuals are in the process of adopting children while we're also helping them with the spouse visa process, for example. And there's always an adoption attorney that's involved, and we have to work closely in concert, as we say, with that international adoption attorney to make sure everything's in alignment, of course, for the adoption rules, and then what is the intersection with immigration. Sometimes, depending on the type of adoption, how long the child has been in your custody, a lot of factors, sometimes there's a different type of petition that's required, and that adoption attorney would do that as part of the adoption process. In other situations, sometimes it's adding another petition with USCIS, a different type of petition, or another I-130 petition. But it's really going to largely depend on the specific facts. So it's not a one size fits all. And if you're thinking of doing this, that's really great. I love that you're wanting to adopt. Like I said, we've had a lot of couples who've done that, and I think that's just such a beautiful thing to do. And it's you're really going to want to make sure you have an adoption attorney and an immigration attorney on board to deal with all of those different layers and complexities. And since you're saying now that you are wanting to, that you're considering it, now is a great time to be speaking with an international adoption attorney and understanding what that is going to look like in the timeline. So, great question. All right. Can an application be denied due to health reasons? It can. So it can, and it depends on, it always with immigration and with law in general, it always depends, right? So when you're going to that medical exam as part of the process to receive your green card, the reason for that medical exam is immigration is looking for one, that you don't have communicable diseases, so something that you can transfer to someone else. And if you do, then they will, put you through treatment to make sure you're healthy before that green card is received. Another reason that they're doing that medical exam is they want to make sure that you're not a harm to yourself or to others. So they do a very in-depth mental health screening, and most importantly, they're looking for things like substance abuse. So where a denial can happen is if someone, for example, is a drug abuser, or have used drugs, or they have alcohol abuse, and they have not been rehabilitated, they haven't recovered. So in situations where someone has multiple DUIs, so driving under the influence, and then they are currently suffering from alcoholism and they have not received treatment, that can be a basis, a health reason, to deny the case. Same with marijuana. So that's one that a lot of couples are surprised to find out. Marijuana is legal in some places, and even if you use it in a location or a place that's lawful, when you go to your medical exam and they run all of the drug tests, if you have marijuana in your system, they'll deny your case. They'll give you a period of time to go in, and you'll do check-ins. So every 3 months or every 6 months. And as long as you are clean, then they can approve the visa after that. But if you continue to have issues with any kind of drugs in your system, they could ultimately deny the visa. So great question. All right. Um, yeah, okay. And so you were just saying, yes, that it would be an international adoption. Yes, definitely speak with an international adoption attorney to understand what that looks like, because that will, and there'll be a lot of interplay with immigration as well. So, all right. I lost my spot again. Here we go. All right. And it looks like Ria says that we have a question on Instagram too. I will do that one next. Thank you, Ria. Is it best to pay for the green card processing and production before the beneficiary leaves their country or after they get to the US? We always recommend to our clients to pay before you enter the US. Sometimes when you try to pay, it'll say that it's not available yet. Sometimes there can be a little bit of a delay. And so if you're not able to pay, let the customs agent know that when you're entering the country. But we highly recommend that you pay that fee before you come to the United States, because it's that payment and then you're entering into the US that's going to trigger the production of the green card. So it's best to get that payment. I've seen individuals where they didn't make the payment until much after arriving in the US, and then it caused a significant delay in green card printing. Okay. Let me see. I'm gonna look at this Instagram question here. Um, oh, here we go. I just lost. I have so I need like 3 computer screens. I have so many windows up here. So Ria says we have a question on Instagram. And let me get rid of this question here so it's clear. Um, that you said good morning. So good morning to you on Instagram. Do you need to carry your I-797 receipt with notice with me at all times while I await removal of conditions, or can I carry around a copy? You'd be worried about damaging or losing it. Yes, I understand. Absolutely. So technically, the law says, the rule says for immigration that you're supposed to carry your green card with you at all times. If you are going through a removal of conditions process and you applied for removal of conditions, they give you an extension of that green card. So legally, you are supposed to carry your green card and that extension notice with you all of the time. Definitely have copies. If in a worst case situation, if you don't have that original, you have it, at least have a copy. That's better than having nothing at all. So if you have a copy and you're carrying that, at least you have that proof. That's fine. When you are, or it should be fine, but the rule is that you have that original one. Especially when you travel, it's imperative. If you're traveling internationally and you're coming back into the country, you 100% need that original one. Luckily, I have not had any clients with a specific issue, but sometimes when individuals are entering the United States and they only have a copy of that I-751 extension and not the original, sometimes that can cause a delay in entry. It's not a basis for them to refuse you entry, but this is a long answer to say, and ideally, in a best case scenario, you should always have that original. I know that's not possible. So at least, having copies is better than nothing, right? So I hope that helps answer your question. I absolutely agree. The concern with having now 2 secure documents and being worried about losing them. So understand. All right. So you are wanting to know if I know anything about F3 visa categories current status, and that your documentarily qualified date is February 6th of 2025. So you're talking about visas for married sons and daughters of U.S. citizens. So this is going to be in a category where you need to check the National Visa Center Bulletin. So if you haven't done that, you'll go to the National Visa Center Bulletin, you'll look at your category, and then you'll follow the chart to see where are they at in the queue of scheduling interviews, because the documentarily qualified date is essentially like your priority date. That's the date that you were qualified and put in line for an interview. But ultimately, because you are in a category, because this case is in a category that's subject to annual visa allotment. So there's a certain amount of visas available every year. Not everyone gets scheduled for an interview. So you need to look at that National Visa Center Bulletin to see where they're at for that category. All right. And I know sometimes not sometimes, a lot of times those waits for individuals who have to wait on the National Visa Center bulletins and wait for a visa to become available, the wait times can be very long. But checking there will give you the best estimate, and you'll use that date, that documentarily qualified date, to determine kind of where they're at in the queue with interviews. It's a little complex on reading that chart. And if you go to our website, immigrationforcouples.com, on our resource center, our resources, I believe our website is very robust. We have lots of resources to help you. And actually, if you go to practice areas and go to, I believe, family petitions. Yep. Yeah. You can go to family petitions on our website. And then we have some instructions, some information there about checking visa bulletins. So, and it has a link to the most recent visa bulletin. So I would have you check there, and I can actually grab that in case Ria, I don't know if Ria got that, but that's okay, Ria. I got it. I'm just going to throw it in the comments really quick. There's the link to our website so you can see more. All right. You're very welcome. I'm glad that was helpful. You're very welcome too. All right. And I know you have a question in there. Let me get to it. I have a couple more before you. We have a very full house of questions today. So that's great. I'll try to get through as many as I can. Okay. So Heather, I'm going to grab a sip of my mocha here. I needed some extra espresso today. All right. So you and your husband have done the I-130. How long does it take for them to contact you for the interview? And do I know the wait for the I-130 petition? So I'm just assuming, but I am assuming that this is that you're a U.S. citizen that filed this petition. So if it's a U.S. citizen who's filing, the current wait times for the I-130 petition are around 17 months to receive a decision on that petition. It sounds insane coming out of my mouth to tell somebody that it takes 17 months. And that's for the petition. And then after that, the case was transferred to the National Visa Center. You'll go through that process, and then it's scheduled for an interview. And I don't see the country where I don't see the country where you're living or where your spouse is living rather. So that also will determine how long of a wait before the interview, because after you complete that National Visa Center process, that's when you'd be scheduled for an interview. And so on average, we're telling couples that it's about 24 months from filing the I-130 petition to interview. In some cases, it's less time than that, but on average, and that's what we're seeing. In some cases, it's much longer than 2 years. And let me see if Heather, if you threw any other comments in about country or anything like that. I don't see it. So, okay. But yeah, that's what we're seeing right now for the spouse visa process. Okay. You're in New Jersey. Your wife lives in the US due to her PhD course. It looks like you have a couple parts. Oh, I think you just repeated it. I think you might have just repeated it. I just want to make sure I'm not missing a question. Here we go. So you had an interview yesterday. It went well for the petition and the 485, but now it says interview canceled online and new card ordered. Is that normal? Well, if they ordered a new card, that's really good news. That means that your green card application was approved. So keep an eye on that. You should be receiving that in the mail. So yay, congratulations. That's exciting. And is it normal for the interview canceled online? Yeah, there's been some weird glitch that we've had in some cases here recently where people go to their interview and then it says canceled and then the green card comes. It's just a glitch in the system. But definitely keep proof of, your interview notice, and if they gave you anything the day of your interview that you went and attended that interview, just to keep for your records. But that's exciting. That's great news. All right. Okay. Let's see. You have a very big question. So you're very welcome. You went to your spouse interview yesterday. You were given a paper which required me the statement means you successfully completed, but there were errors on your DS-260. The form has been unlocked. You can resubmit the DS-260 and email the embassy in Freetown to proceed. Yeah, it's because I think because your question is so long, and I know you repeated it, you threw it in there a couple times. So for anybody who's just now joining, I answer the questions in the order that I receive them, and it's very hard for me to find questions and get through them if you ask your question more than once. So I know you want information, I know you want support. I'm here to do that. But if you ask your question one time, that's better for you and for everybody. Just so I don't skip anybody or get lost, because I see you ask your question quite a few times in here. So in your question, you said basically, my question, how long will it take for them to get back to me? So it sounds like you said, they said that there was some errors on your consular application, and then they needed you to go back and make those revisions. Since I have no idea your case history or what those revisions were or why the embassy was requesting it, there's no way for me to know how long it will take them to get back with you. Typically at your interview, sometimes they give you an idea of like an estimate of how long. Sometimes it can be a matter of weeks. Sometimes after you make those revisions, they can come back and say they want more evidence. Sometimes it can take months. So unfortunately, there's not a set amount of time for them to respond. It will really just depend on the specifics of your case. But it sounds like you took the steps that they asked, and it's a matter of waiting. You can always follow up directly with the embassy and see if they can give you any kind of insider updates. Oftentimes they don't like to commit to how long it will take them, because sometimes they don't know how long their review and research will take. All right. Let me make sure I didn't. Okay, let me make sure I didn't. Oh, okay. We both date of birth and date of marriage. Well, that's good that that's all that they needed. I'm not sure if you had them wrong or what happened, but again, unfortunately, there's no way for me to know exactly how long it will take. I know. I wish I had a crystal ball, to be able to tell everyone how long it's going to take and what to expect. But in general, checking with the embassy directly is going to be your best bet. And again, sometimes they're reticent on how long they think it will take. Okay, so your spouse was approved for the I-130. That's great. Congratulations. It says take next steps with the Department of State. What should you expect? Um, well, you have to take all of the next steps that they outline in the confirmation email that they sent to you. So you'll be paying an online fee. You'll be completing an application, collecting all of your documents, and once your case is what they call documentarily qualified, then you'll be placed in line for an interview. Hmm. I'm happy to hear that. That my enthusiasm and empathy is calming and greatly appreciated. You're very welcome. I definitely empathize. I went through an immigration process too. I know the wait time can be brutal. I know the unknown can be stressful. But definitely leaning on each other during this process, it made my husband and I, our individual resiliency and then our resiliency as a couple, so much stronger. After you get through this, you'll feel like, you can take on anything together. So hang in there. Don't give up. All right, Wayne, your question is up next. And that's very sweet of you to say that even if I wasn't able to answer your question, thank you for my time. That's very nice of you. And I'm glad I was able to get to your question. So let me pull it up here. You're asking for a friend. You have a friend from Honduras whose daughter is receiving medical treatment. Oh, I'm so sorry, for a life-threatening disease at a hospital near DC. The hospital has discharged her daughter, but she's afraid to return to Honduras because if her daughter relapses, the hospitals there do not have the resources to treat her. Would her daughter qualify for humanitarian parole? And wouldn't my friend qualify for this too, since her daughter is a child? Is there any other? I think you might have another part to your question. I think that's all of your questions. So, yes, you're right. That there is something called humanitarian parole for these extreme situations like that. And I'm really sorry. They'll be in my thoughts and prayers for sure. So humanitarian parole is definitely something to look at. If hopefully they have an attorney or not for profit that's assisting them. I don't know all the specifics of their background, but they really need to have a very thorough immigration screening with an immigration practitioner and attorney who focuses in the humanitarian sector. So our firm, Immigration for Couples, we specifically, just like it sounds, help couples and their family with the immigration process. But this sounds like it's more in the realm of that humanitarian realm. So having them do an evaluation with an immigration attorney, or a screening rather with an immigration attorney who does humanitarian work, court work, they can do a screening and see, are there other options in addition to humanitarian parole that they can consider applying for right now? And you said you're in Arkansas. So I would check if they have limited funds, if they need a more of like a not-for-profit or pro bono assistance. You can check with the state bar in Arkansas and explain the situation and ask for referrals. So the Arkansas State Bar of Attorneys, you can reach out to them and they can typically give you some referrals. And then you can also look for not-for-profits. I'm not sure if there is a like a neighborhood Christian legal clinic or a Catholic Charities or anything like that, where there's some nonprofit organizations that might be able to assist with that as well. So I hope that helps give you a little bit of guidance on some steps that you might be able to take to help them get assistance. All right. You're very welcome. I'm glad that was helpful. Okay, let's see. I'm going to try to do a couple more and then I got to jet. I have a very, very busy day. I always do. We have helping couples all over the world. So, all right. And then Joshua, that's so great. Your wife's green card came in the mail yesterday. It's been a journey. And I'm so glad you were on the last live. I keep thinking about how you said that the officer told you to file the I-90 and that was like a head slap, right? So I'm glad that you were here and you know it's removal conditions, because that's heartbreaking. I can't tell you how many couples have come to me in that situation where they find out they filed the wrong form and did the wrong thing, and now they're having a lot of cleanup work, and it's very stressful. So congratulations on getting that green card, and I'm so glad you've been able to be part of our community and get that support. All right. See you later. Bye, Maria. It was great to have you with us. Take care. All right. Let me see. I'm going to try to do one or two more, like I said. Yeah. And so you said you're in the same boat of starting that I-130 petition for consular processing abroad, hoping it doesn't take too long. LOL, but we're hunkering down as well. Good luck, everyone. We will overcome this. I love it. That's perfect. Great, great support in today's community. All right. All right. So you have a complex situation. You have your immigration court in February. You received bond since 2012. You have your interview December 11th for an I-130 marriage-based petition for a marriage with a U.S. citizen since 2012. And let me see if you have any other parts to your, or you're just giving that as a comment. So definitely, I very much hope that you have an immigration attorney who will be attending that interview with you on December 11th. If you don't, find an immigration attorney who can attend with you, so you're not going to that interview alone. It's always a much more risky and more complex situation when you have a pending immigration court case as well. So please do get support. All right, I think we got through. I think we got through almost all the questions. Yay! All right. You're very welcome. I think I got through all the questions. I hope I didn't, hopefully I didn't miss anybody, and I don't think Ria has any other ones on Instagram. So I'm going to jet. It was great to be with all of you today. And again, as a reminder, we do have our special this month for $700 off your case. We only have a few spots left. Ria will throw that link in there one more time for all of you. If you are thinking about starting your immigration journey, if you've been thinking about having an appointment with me, now is the time to do so. We only have, like I said, 3 or 4 spots left for the rest of the month. And when you meet with me and then hire for your case within 7 days, we give you $700 credit back. So if you've been thinking about it, now's the time to get started. I would look forward to helping you and meeting with you on a Zoom or phone call. All right. Take care, everyone. Hi, Lisa. There you are. You're very welcome. Take care, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. I will see you on the next live. If you aren't already, be sure to subscribe, follow wherever you're watching this here today, so you get updates for our next live. We host them weekly. All right. Take care. Bye, everyone.